Slaves used to work all day, every day, with no pay. But they got free food, water, and shelter. Today, we work all day, nearly every day, and we get paid. But the money we make, we spend on food, water, and shelter. We're still slaves. The only thing that has changed is the illusion of freedom. Slaves used to work all day, every day.
Alright, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakai, HaKwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the Hofa elect, preaching His word in truth and sincerity, who we know on this side of the world, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And shalom to the ribs, to the sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, shalom. Right, I saw that video, and we all talk about the paper shackles that Esau has on us, right? The illusion of freedom that we all have, right? Yeah, like you could literally take a plane to, let's say like the UK, but you can't do that without ID, identification, right? All that is basically a leash, right? And let's say you had you owe taxes in the US, right? And you move to the UK owing those taxes, you still got to pay taxes here. I believe you got to in some cases you got to pay taxes on a yearly basis regardless, right? Letting you know that this government, this system is really not free, right? They got these drivers called the sovereign citizens who drive around without license or license plate, but they still get arrested, right? They still get troubled. Why? Because this place is policed. You can't just drive around and do what you want to do without permission. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 38. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, right? That's talking about, planting vineyards and, trees and things of that nature. You're going to work at these factories, these jobs, right? But you're not gonna reap the benefits of the produce. And even if you had your own business, you still gotta pay tribute, right? Because we're in the modern age. Right, it says, "Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and thou shalt gather but little in." Right, you're gonna make a little bit. You're gonna probably eat a little bit of that, but it's gonna be very little. It says, "For the locust shall consume it." Thou shalt plant a vineyard and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes. Right, that's like working at a car factory, at like a BMW car factory, and you're putting these BMWs together, but you're never gonna drive one. You couldn't afford it, and even if you did, you're just putting yourself in a deeper debt, deeper slavery, so to speak. So thou shalt plant the vineyards and dress them, but thou shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Right, that's exactly what we're going through, man. Systematic oppression. Right, this is pertaining to Israel. Isaiah 42 and 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled, right? Because wherever we go, whatever captivity we go to, right, the nations use us to build their kingdom up. Every kingdom that we was in thrived because of our work, our labors, right? We see that as an example now when we have the Ishikarites, also known as the Mexicans, being removed from these fields, right? Where Esau can't handle that type of workload. They're feeling it. Because I've even seen videos of people building houses, right? Issachar builds houses really quick. When they removed them, it took them like 5 times the amount of time to get something done. And, the owners were feeling it. Right? It says Isaiah 42:22, but this is the people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. Right? The illusion of freedom, right? This captivity is a snare, man. It's like a hamster wheel. You can never get out of it. It says, and they are hid in prison houses, right? Not only literally, right? Because the U.S. has the most prisoners in the world, man. And really, these prisons are nothing but slave camps. Right? Because we have a system that oppresses the poor to a point where they have to commit crimes, because they just making it harder and harder to live. You see rent prices in Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, California, Miami. Right? That's where Jake predominantly lives. I think those they call them blue states. Well, Salaka, except for Miami. Miami's a red state because it's Florida. I'm not sure what California is. But, yeah, man, that's where Jake is, man. And, the rent is so high that you couldn't get a regular job. Let alone if you had a criminal background, or, you don't have the money for trade school, so you can't really make a decent amount of money. So you're always going to be in the bottom. So you are constantly going to be around people who struggle, right? Even if you don't commit crimes yourself, you're going to be a victim of a crime, right? And that puts a lot of stress on your life, man, because you got to worry about getting robbed on the street and things of that nature. So you don't tend to make the best decisions when you're on survival mode. It says, and they are hid in prison houses. Therefore pray and none delivereth. Right? Nobody's coming out to help. There's so many billionaires on this earth, right? So many billionaires on this earth, and there's allegedly 7 billion people, as they say, something like that, right? If each billionaire gives $1 billion out, everybody would have like a million or something like that, right? They literally got the power to stop poverty, but they don't. That's the point. So therefore pray and none delivereth, for a spoil and none saith restore. Right? The only one that's gonna save us is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, man. He's the only one that deserves that title, man, of deliverer. Right? And that's what we hope and pray, that we all elect, that we get saved out of this thing, man. I pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, the GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the whole elect, preaching his word in truth and sincerity. To you ribs, to you sisters out there, learning in silence and staying in order, I say to you all, Shalom.